Okay, have you ever stopped to think if there's a totally different way to make a movie? I mean, a way with no finished scripts, no storyboards, maybe no plan at all? Well, we're about to dive into the absolutely wild, high-pressure, and somehow unbelievably creative world of Hong Kong's golden age of cinema. And trust me, it's a story that's going to change how you think about making art. Just let that quote sink in for a second. Can you imagine getting that call? You've got two of the biggest movie stars in Asia, a title for a film, and that's it. Nothing else. Oh, and you have to start shooting next week because the movie has already been sold to distributors. This wasn't some crazy one-off situation. This was just how things were done.
So the big question is, how on earth did this completely insane process not just work, but actually produce some of the most iconic and beloved films we've ever seen? It seems totally impossible, right? Well, the answer lies in a unique creative philosophy, one that was forged in the heat of the moment. To really get this method, you kind of have to learn the lingo. This whole era was really defined by two core ideas that sound like pure chaos, but they were the secret sauce to its success. So first up is this concept fei zai zai, which literally means flying paper. Picture this. There is no master script. Somewhere, a writer is scribbling dialogue on a scrap of paper right this second, and then someone literally runs that paper onto the set and hands it to an actor maybe moments before the cameras start rolling. The story wasn't just being written on the fly, it was being invented as it was being filmed. And that leads right into the second and maybe even more important idea, jumsung. Now this is so much more than just improv, it's a whole mindset. It is the art of solving any problem right here, right now, with whatever you've got. No budget, no time, no script. It doesn't matter. You make it work. Period. And this wasn't just some abstract theory. The legends of the industry lived this. Get this, director Wang Jing admits to writing a script for another director's movie while he was on the set of his own film. The legendary Chow Yun-fat was, at one point, juggling 4 different movie shoots at the same time. But this chaos created pure magic. His most famous role, the impossibly cool Mark Gore, was supposed to be a tiny cameo, but he was so charismatic on set they just kept writing more and more scenes for him, and a cinematic icon was born, basically by accident. So if it's not about careful, meticulous planning, then what is it about? Well, according to Wang Jing, the secret ingredient isn't the system. It's the creator's mental and creative state. You can really think of it as two completely opposing models. On one side, you've got the Hollywood system. Everything is planned out, scripts are locked, budgets are analyzed, decisions are driven by market research. And on the other side, you've got the Hong Kong state. It's all about immediate action, on-set improvisation, and just trusting the director's gut feeling. One is stable and methodical, the other is fast, chaotic, and relies completely on the creator's intuition. And this quote right here is the heart of the whole philosophy. Wang Jing compares a director to an athlete. If you're not in your top form, that peak creative zone where everything just clicks, it doesn't matter how huge your budget is or how fancy your equipment is. The magic happens when the creator is totally in the zone, able to make brilliant decisions in a split second. But, and this is a big but, staying in that peak state came at a massive cost. To keep that creative momentum going, these filmmakers worked at an absolutely inhuman pace. Wang Jing remembers one year where he directed 7 films and produced 3 others. He was working day and night, jumping between different sets, until his body literally just gave out. It was a creative sprint that you just can't keep up forever. So this all leads to that classic debate, right? Was this whole thing just about making a quick buck, or was there something more going on? For Wang Jing, the answer isn't a simple art or commerce. It's all about professionalism. I want you to just take a look at this number for a second, 90%. In the film world, what do you think that represents? According to Wang Jing, 90% of profitable movies are good movies. Now that is a pretty provocative statement, I know, but his definition of good is tied directly to the audience. If the maximum number of people are willing to pay their hard-earned money to see your film, then you've done your job. You have succeeded professionally as a commercial filmmaker. But here's the twist. He applies that exact same logic to art films. He says he respects anyone who is a professional at what they do, no matter what it is. And he totally put his money where his mouth is. When the famous art house director Anne Hui couldn't get funding for her films, Wang Jing, the king of commercial blockbusters, stepped in and financed them. Why? Because he saw her as a master of her craft, a true professional. And you know where this whole philosophy really gets put to the ultimate test? with what might be the most difficult genre of all, comedy. For Wang Jing, comedy is the final exam of a filmmaker's connection with their audience.
He talks about this amazing concept called gongzhen, or resonance. Think of it like a shared cultural frequency. To make a huge group of people all laugh at the same thing at the same time, you have to be perfectly tuned into their culture, their inside jokes, their anxieties, what he calls their laugh points. You have to be vibrating on the exact same frequency. So here's the puzzle. Why did a master of comedy like Wang Jing pretty much stop making them? It's not because he lost his funny bone. It was a cold, hard, professional calculation. As the main audience for his films shifted to mainland China, he realized that the cultural laugh points were completely different from those in Hong Kong. He knew he just couldn't achieve that deep resonance anymore. So, as a professional, he stepped aside for filmmakers who could.
This incredible, chaotic era of filmmaking created absolute legends, but it was a model that had a built-in expiration date. It was a perfect storm of talent, pressure, and economics that, in the end, just couldn't last.
So what brought it all to an end? Well, first, there was the human cost. The relentless pace led to serious burnout. But second, and this is the big one, the entire economic foundation was super fragile. The whole industry was basically propped up by selling films to one single hungry market, Taiwan. And when that market collapsed in the mid-90s, the financial engine that powered all this creative chaos just died. And that leaves us with the final thought for today. We now live in an era of entertainment that is dominated by data, by test audiences, by algorithms, all designed to predict a hit. It's the system, but on a global scale. And looking back at the wild, intuitive, and chaotic genius of Hong Kong's golden age, you just have to wonder, in our quest to make everything a sure bet, have we lost a little bit of that magic?